Shear force and bending moment are important concepts in structural engineering that help determine the strength and stability of structures. Shear force is the force acting perpendicular to a surface, while bending moment is the force that causes a beam or other structural element to bend. Here are the steps to perform shear force and bending moment calculations. Determine the loads acting on the beam. The first step in calculating shear force and bending moment is to determine the loads acting on the beam. These loads may include point loads, distributed loads, and moments. Draw a free body diagram. Once you have determined the loads acting on the beam, draw a free body diagram of the beam showing all the forces acting on it. This will help you visualize the forces and moments acting on the beam and simplify the calculations. Determine the reactions at the supports. To calculate the shear force and bending moment, you first need to determine the reactions at the supports of the beam. The reactions are the forces and moments that the supports exert on the beam to keep it in equilibrium. Calculate the shear force. After you have determined the reactions, you can start calculating the shear force at any point along the beam. The shear force is the sum of all the forces acting perpendicular to the beam at that point. Calculate the bending moment. Once you have calculated the shear force, you can then calculate the bending moment at any point along the beam. The bending moment is the product of the force acting perpendicular to the beam and the distance from that point to the nearest support. Plot the shear force and bending moment diagrams. Finally, plot the shear force and bending moment diagrams using the calculated values. The shear force diagram shows the variation of shear force along the length of the beam, while the bending moment diagram shows the variation of bending moment along the length of the beam. It's important to note that these calculations can become quite complex for more complicated structures and loads, and may require the use of specialized software or tools.